Limpopo police have expressed confidence that they'll soon arrest a suspect who abducted and raped 2 night shift nurses from Ga-Chuene clinic outside Polokwane in Limpopo. The armed suspect stormed into the clinic last night, handcuffed 3 security personnel before taking the 2 nurses into nearby bushes. The suspect also stole personal belongings of the nurses as well as of the security personnel. Limpopo police spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba says forensic officers are busy combing through the bushes and the clinic for evidence. Joining us to discuss the incident further is Limpopo Health spokesperson Shikwambana, who joins us virtually. Good evening, Neil. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, the story is beyond disturbing. Can you confirm the details of the incident, at least as you have been briefed?
Good evening, Undo, and all the listeners and all the viewers at home. Indeed, we can confirm that which you have already indicated. Truth be told, as you are indicating, this is a very disturbing story. Hence, the MEC for Health, Ga-Chuene, described it as deplorable and barbaric. Because we have seen all sorts of crimes in the province, but never had we imagined that criminals can lose so much conscience to a point where they can think of targeting a healthcare facility like this, let alone the healthcare workers who are there to assist any community member, especially the vulnerable and the sick ones. So indeed, this incident happened as you're describing it, after the nurses actually re-emerged in the early hours of the morning. They had to be taken for psychological support, including all the staff members who are working in that clinic who were coming in for day duty, because this is so traumatizing. We can also indicate that the clinic has been closed until further notice.
Now, the question that many have at this point is how the perpetrators managed to overpower security. Are the security officers at that clinic armed at all times?
Look, security personnel are actually equipped with the necessary mechanism to defend and also guard the facilities. But you will agree with me that criminals are also cunning. And these are crimes that looks like they are organized, and criminals took their time to calculate, because when you listen to the statements is that these guys took corners and watched the security personnel very well and accosted them. And in an instance where guns are what we call involved, whoever draws out the firearm first wins, because there's nothing you can do absolutely after that. So it's actually while it's actually a matter of security issues, it's actually also a matter of the community and how we have actually dwindled in terms of consciousness. Because even if we were to put 100 security personnel, if people want not to respect the facility, they can come being 200 and armed. Hence, you would see that even some of the most guarded and most equipped facilities, such as police station and prison centers, get robbed from time to time.
Mr. Shikwambana, sorry for interjecting there, but there could be some listening to your statements there that might hold the view that perhaps we're making excuses for the security company here, that if we're going to say we had perpetrators that studied them for a long time, they're hired to provide a service, which is that of protecting the facility itself and its inhabitants. So in this instance, there are those, specifically Denosa, that feels there was a security lapse here, there was a failure. And you're of the view that it could have happened to any other. You could have community members that come now and overwhelm them again.
We are certainly not making excuses. It's just that also we are trying very hard not to thumbsuck facts, because there are investigations that are continuing, both of the police and us, which will establish the real facts. But currently, what we are saying now, we're relying on statements that have been provided. So the reason why there is ongoing investigations after those statements have been provided is to actually corroborate or verify those statements and to see exactly what is it that has happened. So I'm not in any way trying to make excuses. In fact, if the investigations that have been conducted indicate indicate that there were security breaches, of course there has to be consequences that needs to be applied to the security company, because this incident is basically not acceptable. There's no way also that we can make an excuse, because as a department we've worked very hard to ensure that we've got clinics that are operating 24 hours, and we've been struggling with unions, and this clinic was one of the wins, because in the area it's the only clinic out of 8 that operate for 24 hours.
And
so
not
that
only
is a
now,
for us.
And not only now do we have traumatized staffers, we also have a traumatized community that they themselves feel if they go to that very clinic, they could be vulnerable and possibly abducted and raped as well. But also now, with the closure of that clinic, they cannot get the services 24 hours. So most certainly, what has happened here is a bigger problem than just what we're dealing with now. But I want to take you back to your response when I asked if the security are armed at all times. You said they have the necessary mechanisms to protect themselves and the clinic. What does necessary mechanisms mean?
Look, we need to be careful also to disclose on national television the equipment that some of our security, because we could be arming other criminals with further information. We might not go into the nitty-gritties in terms of whether they had these, they did not have these, they had that. But there are standard equipment that our security personnel are supposed to be having at all times when they are guarding a facility of that nature. And part of what we are looking at now, it's as I've already indicated, that investigations must exactly establish what exactly has happened, contrary or corroborating what has been said in the statements.
Now, have there been any similar incidents at that clinic or hospitals in Limpopo recently?
In the past 3-4 years, we've had a spate of attacks in our facilities to a point where we involved police, and part of the agreement was that police would assist us, especially in hospitals where they're next to police stations with patrolling and whatnot, and police have been doing a good work, and we've been having a respite for many years. So it seems as if now we could be having a restart of these incidents, because in the past, part of the challenge was that the target was mostly on security personnel to disarm them, because criminals were mostly looking for guns that security personnel are having. So they would usually break into the facility, across security personnel, take their firearms. But these kind of incidents where nurses are also attacked, they do happen sporadically. You'll remember that recently in Musina, sometimes last year in an EMS station, where the security personnel was killed trying to protect the station there when attackers came in, probably looking for a firearm.
All right. Mr. Shikwambana, thank you very much for your time this evening. That's Limpopo Health Spokesperson Shikwambana there speaking to us. All right.